In a world that seems obsessed with progress, few people truly embrace what it takes to grow. There's a hard reality that many shy away from. The extent of your growth is tied to the amount of truth you're willing to accept about yourself. It's not about numbers or percentages, but about something much deeper. The truth is that if you're only willing to see what's easy or comfortable, you're setting a limit on your progress. But if you face the truths that cut the deepest, the kind that make you question who you are, then you'll discover what it really means to grow. Now, think about how much denial shapes our behavior. When faced with truths about ourselves that hurt, our minds don't just say, "Let's deal with this." Instead, they scream danger and set off alarms, as if our very survival is at stake. The brain, ever vigilant for threats, often mistakes these emotional challenges for physical ones. It triggers a fight-or-flight response, pushing us to either get defensive or flee from the discomfort. This avoidance plays out in many aspects of life, but relationships often showcase it most clearly. Think of the serial dater who moves from one partner to the next, always finding something wrong with the other person. From being too needy to not being attentive enough, there's always a reason why the relationship didn't work, and it's never about them. Their close friends can see the pattern, and perhaps even feel frustrated that they can't get through to them. But until this person confronts some hard truths, they'll remain trapped in the same cycle, repeating the same mistakes and enduring the same heartbreak. Why do these patterns run so deep? Many of the challenges we face in adulthood trace back to our earliest years. The first decade of life shapes the foundation of our beliefs, our behaviors, and our ways of relating to others. For those who experience neglect or grew up in chaotic environments, the impact lingers well beyond childhood. While some traumas are dramatic and obvious, like abuse, others are more insidious, slipping under the radar but leaving deep scars. A child who didn't receive consistent attention might grow up with an unquenchable thirst for validation, leading to a lifetime of chasing love from others without ever finding peace within themselves. This longing often propels them into one relationship after another, not because they don't want stability, but because they never learned how to achieve it. They may gravitate toward partners who mirror the emotional unavailability they experienced growing up, as if trying to rewrite their painful history into something better. Yet, each time they find themselves back in the same place, struggling with the same emotions, it reinforces the feeling that they're not enough. But what if they dared to face the real issue? Not the string of partners who weren't right, but the deep-seated belief that they themselves aren't lovable. Until this belief changes, no partner will ever be enough. It's a hard truth, but acknowledging it can be the first step toward real change. Leaning into self-discovery is no easy task, and it's certainly not without pain. But with that pain comes the most powerful kind of growth, the kind that goes beyond external achievements to transform who you are at the core. It's about understanding where you come from, what shaped you, and how those experiences influence your behaviors. When you truly see yourself, you gain the freedom to choose who you want to become. Every one of us is a product of our unique history. The relationships we've had, the events we've endured, the traumas we've suffered, and the triumphs we've celebrated, all combine to create the person we are today. Facing the truths about these influences isn't about blaming others or drowning in self-pity. It's about gaining clarity, the kind that illuminates the path to a better future. Growth isn't a straight line. It's more like a spiral, with moments that loop back to familiar struggles, only this time with a slightly different perspective. Each time you revisit a challenge, you're equipped with more understanding, more compassion for yourself, and more resilience. You might not be able to escape the scars of the past, but you can learn to see them not as wounds that need healing, but as markers of how far you've come. So, if you're ready to break the cycle and ascend to new heights, it starts with facing the uncomfortable truths. Ask yourself the questions you've avoided. Dig into the reasons behind your behaviors, and don't shy away from what you find. Growth isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about continually striving to understand yourself, to heal the parts that still hurt, and to become the person who isn't afraid to look in the mirror and say, "I'm enough." The journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. The path to becoming your best self is paved with truths, some bitter, some liberating, but all essential. When you commit to this path, you unlock the doors to your greatest potential, and that's where real progress begins. So, keep climbing. There's no telling how far you can go when you embrace the truths that push you to grow.